Couples fighting styles. The defensive attacker. All couples fight, but different personality types approach conflict in different ways. Knowing your fighting style may help you and your partner learn to handle disagreement more positively. This is the video jug guide to the defensive attacker.
It's permit holders only, you can't park.
It's not permit holders. Oh, it is. It
It is,
doesn't
don't be
matter.
stupid, you can't leave.
Rosie, I'm not being stupid, for God's sake. I've just driven all the way here and it's been a nightmare
just
drive, and
saying.
all you've been doing is nagging in my ear, all right? If you're so sure of where I can park, why don't you drive? Because you can't. So please, shut up and do your makeup, for God's sake. I'll meet you out there, hurry up.
These people tend to actually be very afraid of conflict, and they're very, very nervous of any kind of debate or discussion, so at all costs they must end it fast, and the best way of doing it is to just up the ante and attack. Their goal is very much to defend themselves, but the way of defending themselves is to attack first. Their idea is if I actually shout really loudly or say something ridiculously out of proportion, you'll back down. The positive aspects of the defensive attacker is it does tend to work. They can actually get things sort of silenced and sorted out immediately. The problem is that often their partners will just give up raising even the smallest issue, anything, because they always get this response. The other thing, of course, is it's often very difficult for them to recognise when something really is an important issue and when it isn't.
What does she look like?
Why does that matter?
Well, is she pretty?
Why the hell do you want to know if she's pretty or not? Do you know what? I should be allowed to meet someone at work without you giving me 20 questions about them, Rosie. Shouldn't matter whether they're bloody male, female, pretty or ugly. You should be able to trust me.
I think if you're a defensive attacker, the first thing you've got to recognise is you're not actually resolving anything with this. You're avoiding conflict, you're not managing it at all, and you may actually be minimising issues in the short term, but in the long time they are just building up, and they're going to get you at some stage in the future. Be aware of what your style is, really think about what the long-term effect is likely to be on your relationship, and when some issue is raised, then try and count to 10, self-soothe, calm yourself down and try and engage in what's actually happening, and really sort of watch your temper and realise that actually this is to do with anxiety, it's not to do with anger at all. Watch that temper, let it calm down, and then engage in the conversation to seek a resolution. It's very difficult being the partner of a defensive attacker because initially they may come across as a real bully if every time you have the slightest difference or the slightest need that you're wanting to bring to them, they hear it as conflict and they attack you. It's very easy to just give up after a while or to feel very intimidated by them. I think what you have to recognise if your partner is like this is that actually they're doing it because they're anxious, they're actually doing it because they're fearful of conflict. So actually if you can try and bring something up by saying, look, I don't want to get into an argument about this, I don't want this to turn into a big deal because it isn't, you know, I do care about a relationship, it's just something I'd like to discuss. So you need to really think about how you bring an issue to the table so that hopefully you can sort of begin to break down that barrier. Your partner can learn that actually disagreements are okay and we do manage and move on from them, and therefore they can begin to let that defence down and respond more appropriately.